It was different. My dad was Pierre, and he went by that name. They called him Pierre. They didn't say Pierre, but they called him Pierre. Some people called him Dave. And it was a curse as a kid, when the coach found out your name was Pierre, you were abused, like I said. But I figured it'd be great name recognition. And and at the time, my dad was alive, and he was, tremendously honored about it. And it was a good win-win for everybody. And I think it stuck around. It didn't hurt us along the way. That logo is created with a piece of poster paper, a dinner plate, and a straight edge at my kitchen table, to be quite frank with you. So I had worked for a company that had symmetrical, they used squares, and I said, I'm going to try circles. And so I'd seen that logo with 3 connecting circles, and I wanted to figure out how to make that work with me. So that's what I did. And I started drawing the legs off of it for the P, and the C was easy enough. And the G was, I added that little extra line underneath the cross of the G. After about 10 tries, I got pretty close, and that's what we got stuck with. It was the business card color of the day, and your business cards were cheaper that day if you used teal. Action Printing was used to be a drugstore in my old neighborhood, and they turned into a print shop, and I knew the guys in there, and I went in and I said, I need business cards. And he goes, well, the color of the day is teal. And I said, sounds good. I'll probably ask my wife about it. She's got her opinion, and she would state it. And, we were both graduated from college, both became school teachers, and it was not for me. I coached basketball, and it was kind of a pipe dream. And then it was when you're winning, everybody loves you, and when you're losing, everybody wants to kill you. So I got out of the teaching business, and she stayed in, which allowed us to have the health insurance from the school system, which was one of the reasons I was able to do what I could do, because health insurance independently is expensive.
I think that the logo and the name and everything has been around so long, and for us, it's there's a family legacy associated with that I think we're all proud of, and I think we've worked hard to have that recognition in the industry with our clients and things like that. And so I think trying to start that over with something else would be a mistake. So I think there's something unique, like Dave was saying about the logo, about the name, and we're known because of it. So I think it was an easy decision to stick with what got us here and keep on keeping on.
I was renovating hotels. I got in with a company out of Erie, Pennsylvania, of all things, and my crew, I had 2 3-man crews at the time, and they were jack of all trades. And this company I was working for, they had subs that had specific tasks. So their jobs ran slowly because you're waiting on the subs. Well, I hit a job, we could do it all, so we never waited. And so all of a sudden I was their hero. They would give me fixed amounts for projects, and I'd take off and get them started and order the material. And, at the time I didn't have any real connections in the metal business, so I was having to buy from the people who eventually I became, one of their regular installers with. But it was interesting at the time. I mean, we were learning on the fly how to do it, and the 2 of the guys that they're just really jack of all trades, very talented, carpenter-based skills. They were flexible enough to figure it out. So we started doing a little metal roofing and read the manual and figured out how to do it. There were a couple of big players in that. As a matter of fact, my first couple of hotel jobs, I hired them to go do the metal roofing. And then when my guys saw them doing it, they said, David, we can do that. The company that we eventually bought the machine from would rent it. to you. So I did a job in, I think it was Jekyll Island or someplace down in South Georgia, took it down there, and, we figured out how to use it, and did a porte-cochere roof on it. And after that, we became invaluable to this contractor. They sent us all over the place. And after they saw how fast we're doing it, they started cutting back on what they pay us. And so that's when I decided, I can do this on my own. And I got tired of getting, taken advantage of, because they had people that were doing it and taking forever to do. That's how they based their pay on. So I'd get in there and do it in, 3/4 of the time. So instead of reward me for being good at it, they wanted to cut my pay. I'm not working by the hour anymore. It was, that's a good remembrance of that period of time. An individual who worked for Rayolite Southeast, who was the premier architectural metal company in Atlanta and who I subbed to, he left Rayolite. It was his father's business, and his father had passed away, and it was convoluted. So he came to work with me and got, me introduced. I didn't have to have the learning curve because Mickey had it already, and got us set up. And then we started, small jobs for GCs, and we did a private school in Atlanta. Whitfield Academy had a brand new facility being built, and they had metal roofs all over the place. So that was our first big job, I guess, for a GC. I think the people that are here, I know most of Colin's staff here from when I was involved. I think they take a good bit of pride in it. And I think that's just from the longevity and the reputation that they helped create, or they did create. It wasn't, what I did. It was what they've done over the years. And, we're always willing to do what the other guys weren't willing to do. That was kind of an old catchphrase I used to do. Can you do that? Yeah, sure we can. And, GCs like that. You're solving problems for them. They've got something that's fallen in the cracks, and they don't know anybody that can do it. And we used to fill in and do those kind of things. So sometimes we, got in a little bit over our head, but, we survived it, and we were problem solvers. So therefore they call you. That's what you want.
I don't know that we talk about, how big we want to get and numbers specifically. I think, honestly, the goal here for the company is to try to improve the lives of the people who work here, right? And if we're able and fortunate enough to be chosen to do more work, and we can do that for more people, then I think that's a great goal for us. And that's the legacy that Dave started, that the rest of us are just trying to continue. And if you do the things that he showed us how to do, and you treat people well and fairly, and you communicate well, do what you say you're going to do, then more often than not, then that gets you where you need to go. So we're just going to try to keep doing that, one foot in front of the other.
He's been growing the company, though. He's been traveling and growing. The GCs have different offices in different regions of the country, and GCs don't communicate even within their own company because they don't want to lose the good subs. Like, I think Collins went out to Texas. We'd done a little bit of work in Texas, but he went out there and called on the GCs from Atlanta, and the left hand does not know what the right hand's doing because they don't want to lose their subcontractors. But Collins was out there shopping, and of course they were excited to have another quality subcontractor. So I listen. At the dinner table, I'll occasionally hear what they're talking about, but he's growing it. He's growing it.
We actually just did our first continuing education class this week with an architect here in Peachtree Corners, and it went really well and was successful. And so just trying to develop relationships, not just with the GC clients, but also with architects on the front end. One thing, we love being a resource to both GCs and architects in terms of helping design things on the front end. Sometimes you've got an idea, but you don't know how to pull it off. And we love being involved with the GCs and with the architects on the front end to help them figure those things out. And sometimes that helps us get a leg up on the job. Sometimes it doesn't, but it's something that we're going to continue to do no matter how those things fall. So excited to get in there and meet some architects and develop relationships there, and also potentially win some more work that way as well. So,
well, the one thing that I see from a third party observer now, when he told me he was doing that, a lot of times we get a set of plans and the concepts there, but the details are created by an architect that doesn't understand what the details need to be. So then we're trying to correct it. Most people don't like to be corrected, especially at that point in the drawing phases, but this is a front end load. They could use the help. Collins can teach them what to avoid, in your drawings, or what to include in the drawings, and that makes everybody's job easier. I mean, when he told me he was doing that, I said, "Wow, that's front end loading, and that's helpful."
Yeah. We've got one that's kind of an ACM basics class talking about aluminum composite material. And then we've got one that's it's a canopy selection. So talking about the different types of canopies, whether they're dot canopies, wall supported canopies, post supported canopies. And then the last class is all about our hybrid canopy, which is kind of a new product that we've developed, a design for that solves the problem of a large canopy fascia. And it's a good design for a lot of those type projects that we're seeing, on these data centers, on the distribution centers, on these warehouses, manufacturing facilities. So we developed something on that. And so that's a good way for us to kind of show what we have in our solution for that problem. We developed a spec, we have details, we have engineering, all those things that can help get it figured out from the front end. So
make it easy for them.